In modern geopolitics, one pattern has remained strangely consistent. Russian leaders, whether from the Tsar era, Soviet period, or modern Kremlin, almost never end up poor. Even when the nation struggles economically, even when ordinary citizens face shortages, sanctions, or inflation, the people in charge maintain extraordinary wealth, privilege, and security. But why does this happen? Why is being a leader in Russia almost a guarantee of lifelong financial power? To understand this, you first need to understand that Russia is not built on the Western model of leadership. In countries like the US, UK, or France, political power is temporary and often strictly regulated by systems, institutions, and transparency laws. A president can be investigated. A prime minister can be removed. A leader can be forced to resign over corruption, scandals, or public pressure. The system is stronger than the individual. Russia is different. Historically, Russia has been a country where the individual is stronger than the system. The ruler, whether Tsar, general secretary, or president, is not just a leader. He is the system itself. He decides how laws work, how wealth is distributed, who gets punished, and who gets rewarded. The real power lies not in institutions, but in personal networks of loyalty. This creates a political culture where wealth is tied to control, not capitalism. In Russia, if you control the security apparatus, the intelligence services, the major industries, and the elite class, you automatically control the money. And because much of Russia's economy is built around natural resources, oil, gas, metals, minerals, whoever controls the state also controls massive revenue streams. Another reason Russian leaders stay rich is because of the informal economy of loyalty. This is not written in any law, nor taught in universities. It's an unwritten rule: support the leader, obey the system, and you will be rewarded financially. Oppose the leader and you will lose everything. Because of this, every Russian leader builds a circle of ultra-rich allies, oligarchs, and loyalists who owe their wealth directly to him. In return, these elites protect the leader's interests, hide his wealth abroad, and make sure he never faces any financial danger no matter what happens to the country. Put simply, a Russian leader never stays rich alone. He stays rich because he leads a system built to protect him. To understand why Russian leaders always remain wealthy, you need to look at the beating heart of Russia's economy, its natural resources. Unlike many countries that depend on diverse industries, technology, manufacturing, services, agriculture, Russia's economic power is heavily concentrated in just a few sectors: oil, gas, metals, and minerals. These sectors produce billions of dollars every single year, and unlike private industries in the West, they are deeply intertwined with the state. In Russia, you don't become rich by creating a new company or inventing a new technology. You become rich by getting access to oil pipelines, gas fields, export licenses, mining rights, and energy companies like Gazprom or Rosneft. And access is something only the top leadership can grant. This means the Russian president and his inner circle don't just influence the economy, they own the keys to the nation's most profitable resources. Here's the real power. When a leader controls the energy sector, he controls the entire flow of money both inside and outside the country. Europe depends on Russian natural gas. Asian markets buy Russian oil at discounted but massive volumes. Even during sanctions, Russia redirects energy exports to friendly nations, ensuring the money never actually stops flowing, it only changes direction. Now imagine a system where every billionaire, every major company, and every powerful businessman exists because the leader says so. This creates a financial pyramid where the leader sits at the top and everyone else is climbing the ladder beneath him. If any oligarch steps out of line, he can lose his fortune instantly because his fortune was never truly his. It belonged to the system. This is why Russian leaders remain untouchable, even during economic crises. Even when the ruble crashes, even when sanctions hit banks, even when citizens protest rising prices. The people at the top still have access to offshore accounts, hidden assets, and global networks built over decades. Western intelligence agencies estimate that Russian elites control hundreds of billions of dollars hidden in foreign real estate, shell companies, luxury assets, and private banks. None of this could exist without control of natural resources. Oil and gas don't just fund the Russian government, they fund the power structure. They pay for loyalty. They pay for silence. They pay for protection. And they ensure that whoever sits in the Kremlin will never have to worry about money again. If you want to understand why Russian leaders remain rich, you must understand the oligarch system, a unique network of billionaires who owe everything they have to the government. Unlike Western billionaires who built their wealth through corporations, stocks, or innovation, most Russian oligarchs became rich because the state allowed it. Their power comes from permission, not competition. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in the 1990s, Russia entered a chaotic period. State assets were sold off cheaply, and a small group of men became unbelievably wealthy overnight. But when Vladimir Putin rose to power, he changed the rules. He demanded one thing from these billionaires: loyalty. They could keep their money, but only if they followed the system and supported the leadership. If they refused, they lost everything. This unwritten deal shaped the modern Russian elite. The leader protects the oligarchs, and the oligarchs protect the leader. They invest where the state tells them. They donate when the Kremlin needs money. They finance projects that support national interests, even if they lose profits. Their wealth is not just personal, it is a tool the leader uses to control the country. This system creates a powerful circle where everyone benefits, but only as long as they obey. And when someone tries to resist, the consequences are immediate. Properties get seized, businesses get shut down, and bank accounts are frozen. High-profile cases like Mikhail Khodorkovsky, once Russia's richest man, show how dangerous it is to challenge the Kremlin. He criticized the leadership, and within months, his empire collapsed, and he ended up in prison. The message was clear: wealth is conditional. But this loyalty is not only built on fear, it also thrives on rewards. Oligarchs receive exclusive contracts, tax benefits, and billion-dollar opportunities that ordinary businesses can never access. They get protection from competitors and international backing through government connections. They can buy yachts, mansions, and football clubs abroad, but those luxuries exist only because they remain loyal. This creates a unique balance where the leadership doesn't need to own everything directly. Instead, they control wealth indirectly through people who depend on them. And because these oligarchs control large parts of the economy, from banks to energy companies, the leader effectively controls the entire economic machine. In this system, wealth flows upward. The oligarchs become rich, but the leader becomes richest of them all, not always on paper, but in real power. And that's why Russian leaders never fall from wealth. The entire elite class is financially tied to their survival. If you want to understand why Russian leaders remain wealthy no matter what happens, you must look at the most powerful force in the country, the security state. Russia is not just governed by politicians, it is protected and controlled by vast networks of intelligence agencies, military units, internal police, and surveillance systems. These institutions don't just defend the nation, they defend the leadership. The roots of this system go back to the Soviet KGB, one of the most feared intelligence organizations in history. After the fall of the USSR, the structure changed, but the mindset didn't. Modern agencies like the FSB, GRU, and SVR inherited the same purpose: maintain stability, eliminate threats, and secure state interests. In practice, this means protecting whoever is at the top. In many countries, security agencies operate independently from the political leadership. In Russia, they are directly tied to the president. Top positions in these agencies are often filled with loyalists, people whose careers, wealth, and safety depend entirely on the leader. And because these agencies have enormous power, surveillance, policing, intelligence, and counterintelligence, they form an invisible armor around the leadership. This is important because wealth cannot be maintained without security. But in Russia, the reverse is also true. Security cannot exist without loyalty to the leader. That's why no oligarch, no politician, and no rival group can rise up and expose corruption or challenge the system. The security agencies ensure the stability of the power structure by monitoring critics, discouraging protests, and preventing any organized opposition from gaining traction. Additionally, the security state helps keep financial secrets hidden. Offshore accounts, secret properties, and billion-dollar networks often remain protected because investigators who might otherwise expose such wealth simply don't have the freedom to act. Institutions that would normally check the leader's power, like courts, anti-corruption bodies, and law enforcement, are heavily influenced by the same security structures. If evidence appears, it can be buried. If a whistleblower speaks, they can be silenced. If a foreign report emerges, the media can label it as an attack on national sovereignty. There is also the psychological effect, fear. When people know that the state has strong intelligence capabilities and harsh penalties for dissent, most won't take the risk of speaking out. This fear creates a passive society where even those who suspect corruption choose silence for their own safety. With the security state controlling both information and opposition, Russian leaders stay insulated from political threats. And when power is untouchable, wealth becomes untouchable. It doesn't matter if the economy collapses, if sanctions increase, or if the world criticizes them. The protective wall built by the security apparatus ensures the leadership stays safe, powerful, and rich. When Western countries impose sanctions on Russia or its leaders, many people assume this will finally weaken their wealth or break their financial networks. But history shows the opposite. Russian leaders almost always find ways to survive sanctions and sometimes even become stronger because of them. To understand why, you must see how deeply Russia has mastered the art of hiding money, rerouting trade, and using global loopholes. First, Russian leaders rarely keep their wealth under their own names. Instead, money is spread across a vast network of trusted oligarchs, shell companies, energy intermediaries, and foreign partners. A luxury villa might be owned by a Cyprus company. A billion-dollar bank account might be linked to a friend, not the leader himself. A yacht might belong to a charitable foundation. This multi-layered structure makes it extremely hard for foreign governments to freeze or track assets. Second, Russia has built strong financial relationships with countries that do not follow Western sanctions, especially China, the Middle East, Central Asia, and parts of Africa. When the West blocks Russia from selling oil to Europe, Russia simply sells more to Asia. When Western banks are closed to Russian money, new channels open in Dubai, Hong Kong, or Istanbul. This allows wealth to keep flowing even during global pressure. Third, sanctions often help the leadership tighten control inside the country. When foreign products disappear and prices rise, the government blames the West. This strengthens nationalist sentiment and makes the public more dependent on state-controlled resources. Meanwhile, domestic businesses that once faced foreign competition suddenly have a monopoly, many of them owned by the same oligarchs loyal to the leadership. What looks like punishment from the outside often becomes profitable inside. Another reason sanctions don't work as expected is the resource factor. Energy is so essential to the world that even during heavy sanctions, countries still find ways to buy Russian oil and gas through intermediaries, shadow fleets, or rebranded shipments. As long as the world needs energy, Russia will always have a way to generate massive revenue. And then there's secrecy. Russia's elite are experts at using global tax havens, crypto routes, and offshore legal structures built over decades. Money can be moved quietly, invested silently, and laundered through foreign real estate or luxury assets. Even when reports expose hidden wealth, domestic audiences rarely hear about it due to state media control. In the end, sanctions punish ordinary citizens far more than the elite. The leadership's financial system is too global, too decentralized, and too protected to collapse easily. Instead of losing wealth, Russian leaders simply shift it like moving pieces on a chessboard, ensuring that no matter the pressure, their fortunes remain safe. After exploring the pillars of Russia's political and economic structure, control of resources, loyalty from oligarchs, dominance over media, and protection from powerful security agencies, it becomes clear that Russian leaders do not stay rich by accident. They stay rich because the entire system is designed to ensure it. Unlike Western democracies, where political power ends when the term ends, Russia's system creates lifelong security, lifelong influence, and lifelong wealth for those at the top. The real secret is this: Russia is built on networks, not institutions. Institutions can challenge leaders. Networks protect them. Every important sector, oil, gas, banking, mining, defense, media, is controlled by people who owe their careers and fortunes to the leadership. This creates a circular flow of power. The leader ensures the elites stay rich. The elites ensure the leader stays untouchable. It's a closed-loop system where everyone at the top benefits, and everyone at the bottom has no real access to the truth or the tools needed to challenge power. Another reason Russian leaders stay rich is because they plan long-term. They know the risks of political office in a powerful country, so they build backup systems, offshore accounts, international business links, foreign real estate, friendly governments, and strategic partners outside the West. Even if sanctions hit, even if Russia faces global pressure, even if the economy collapses, their personal wealth remains protected through layers of loyal intermediaries and overseas assets. But the deepest reason lies in Russia's political culture. For centuries, Russians have accepted, sometimes reluctantly, sometimes proudly, that their leaders are powerful, privileged, and wealthy. From the Tsars who lived in palaces to Soviet leaders who enjoyed exclusive luxury, power has always come with personal benefits. Modern leaders simply continue that tradition, but with global tools, offshore havens, energy leverage, and information control. This culture makes it extremely difficult for a leader's wealth to become a political issue. People might criticize the economy, corruption, or harsh laws, but questioning the personal wealth of the leadership is almost taboo and often dangerous. The system ensures that citizens are encouraged to focus on external threats, not internal privilege. Ultimately, Russian leaders stay rich because the system works exactly as intended. The state controls the economy. The elites depend on the state. The people depend on the state. And protecting the leader becomes the highest priority because without him, the entire power structure risks collapsing. As long as this structure remains intact, built on loyalty, fear, secrecy, and resource wealth, Russian leaders will never just stay rich, they will stay untouchable.